Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tavern Talk Show 5. I'm your host today, and I want you to introduce to Yarnilla, Lexor, and Kodiak. Say hello, guys.
Good
What's up,
afternoon.
people?
Hello.
All right, so today we're going to cover the Pantheon news, and then we're going to cover the newsletter, and we're going to cover a couple of hot topics from the Pantheon forums. So we'll go ahead and we'll kick this off, and we'll go straight into the Pantheon news here. So let's go ahead and we'll bring this up. All right. Okay, today Pantheon twittered out, you aggro a mob and turn to run and realize that you are heading into a dead end. You try to cast a spell, but it fizzles. What do you do now? And some of the responses were, Jules, I'll feign death and AFK for a coffee. Masek said, it's last stand time. If I survive, I'll become the stuff of legends. Jason St. James said, grab your ankles and wait for the now loading screen while you're cursing yourself for not training that party that was 30 feet away. Bill Main says, if I think I can find the exit, I'll U-turn and hope I can get through the mobs, otherwise fight to the death. Adam Evans says, yep, it's AFK for a coffee, corpse run. Ponk12345 said, run past the mob and hope you can somehow outrun it. Probably won't end well, though. Leatherneck Geek said, feign death. Michael Sedono said, hopefully there's someone with a so in the group and tell the group run to the zone. And Jamie says, feign death because monks win at life. Chris Leckness says, start calling for a cleric in the area. And Dale Mazer says, accept my fate. And Sindor says, spell fizzle, pulls out twin daggers, and have at it with the help of my pseudo dragon familiar. Dobie Gillis, Spider-Man, the wall. If that fails, throw my computer off the building and claim my account was stolen. Swifty, die. Bard King says, I kite them around in a circle laughing as my song twisting skills slowly melt their faces. Found Guy says, check my location so I can find my corpse. And Darren says, send Pet in and run past them. After Pet dies, train it to someone along the way of escaping. And Harry Lama said, you deal with it. So that's what was been said on that Twitter today. So check it out.
What would you guys do?
Fight to the death. I ain't no sissy.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay there and fight.
Oh heck yeah! I'm gonna go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah. I'd run through a whole bunch of other people and get them involved.
I thought clerics weren't pussies though.
That's why I would actually go and run and get other people involved, so I don't have to deal with it.
Right.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So the next Pantheon MMO was when Pantheon launches. Will you? 23% said I'm going to take a week off of work. 14% said they're going to take a few days off. 27% said sleep. Who needs it? And 36% said slow and steady for the win.
Wow.
What are you guys going to do when the game launches?
Well, I'm going to be. I actually voted for the. Sleep who needs it, so I'll be taking time off, but I won't be rushing anything. I'll be taking, I'll spend as much time as I can in game, and figure out stuff, and make videos and all that kind of stuff. So,
cool.
I'll be taking a week off work, but I'll probably be making like 7 alts. So,
yeah, I'll be calling in sick for sure.
Yeah, I might be calling in sick for a few days just to try to get the game under control. Figure out things. So for sure.
Yep.
Definitely.
The next tweet is...
And we're just... Hang on, give me a minute. We're just kidding bosses out there, people, if they might recognize us, our employers. We're only kidding. We wouldn't take sick leave.
Oh, no, definitely not. No, what were we talking about? We were just messing around, right? Yeah.
I am the boss, so...
Yeah.
I'm self-employed, and my boss is a douche.
Oh. It's just my minions that are going to be texting me, and I'm going to be like, oh, not here, not here, not here.
Yeah. Solarn says out there in chat, seek and destroy.
That's right.
Yep.
The next tweet is, it's time for training. If you don't let the view distract you, part 2 of the training field.
Yep.
And we're pretty sure we have a screenshot of that somewhere.
Actually, you know what? I think I might. I'll go ahead and try to pull that up if you guys want to talk a little bit about something real fast for me while I get that up there. So.
Well, for those of you that were around for the first screenshot, they showed us the training area, but it only had like 3 or 4 dummies. So people are like, there's not a lot of room here. What
Well,
you
that
did see,
and you saw all the background, so everybody was distracted by the hills and the pink tree and the castle over there and whatever. So this one
right?
was a little
Yeah,
more close up.
Yep.
right. What we didn't see was just around the corner from a wall. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what this next screenshot is. It's showing us more of the training area, how there is more to it than just that one little spot. And I'm sure if we, were to turn around in the first screenshot, there's going to be more there. They probably just got the one that had the best view.
Yeah,
exactly.
if Dal can find it on his desktop.
I put the link in chat, so
All
people can
right, sweet. Let's see if I can find that bad boy. So, but yeah, it was quite the interesting screenshot, though. Just to say, it definitely helped us see what was going on with the training area. So.
Oh yeah, and I'm really excited for the training area because I'm the kind of player that I'll get bored of my current spec in a game that allows, character customizations to that extent. I'll get tired of it and I'll try something completely crazy, but I need a training area to refine it. So
well, it's
I'm
also good so
happy.
you can also learn what abilities do what and how much damage
Yeah.
they output and stuff like that. That's why I like them.
Yeah, and it's stuff
All
like
right.
say you take like World of Warcraft's talent tree. Well, maybe this ability that you gain through here is better used before or after another ability. Well, this gives you a chance to test it without like risking your neck,
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
he's a Dire Lord. He has to practice taunting on a dummy.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, he says,
Taunting on an ox
risk it.
doesn't work so well.
Right. All right, so that's your training area, folks. On the other side, if you've seen the first screenshot before, it didn't really show you a whole lot, so this one kind of gives you the in-depth side. But let me see if I can, while we're talking about that, I'll go ahead and try to bring up the next one, guys, real quick. I'll try and put that one in here for everybody, so just give me 1 second, and I'll show the old one. So if you guys want to talk about the old one, too, for me.
We're just gonna talk about the mountain in the background and the pink tree and the all the distractions. I think that's why they wanted to get one that was more close up.
Yeah, I mean they're showing you the training area in the first one, but I'm pretty sure every one of us was like, "That's all fine and good. What's in that castle?"
Yeah, exactly. What's that back there? That's where I want to go.
Yeah, that was an awesome shot of the castle in the background.
Hey, they should do one of those things where you take your cell phone, and you go like this.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
360-degree, yeah.
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 That's what they should totally do.
Get a big panoramic view. Oh my God, that would be just awesome.
Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring that shot up here, folks. Just give me 1 second, and I'll pop that one in on screen for you. So that was the original shot we got of the training area. So now it kind of makes sense to you what we're talking about. So yeah, it kind of looks small to some folks. And then if you look around the screenshot here around the wall, that was this shot right here, is around the corner. So the training area is a little bit bigger than what they showed originally. So they give you kind of an idea.
Yeah, looking at the first screenshot again, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more to the left of where that person's standing, possibly even behind. I mean,
yep.
You don't know, and the not knowing makes you go a little crazy.
Yep. So, all right, we'll go ahead and we'll pop back to ourselves here. So, yeah, that was the screenshots of the training area. And we'll go ahead and we'll start moving along, and we'll try to get to those hot topics here. So let me go ahead and we'll bring that one up. Oops. We'll go ahead with this one. All right, newsletter coverage. All right, so we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the newsletter and what that entailed this week. So let me go ahead and pull that up real fast here. And we'll hop into it. So what do you guys find interesting about the newsletter this week? Lex?
I just thought it was cool as far as how what the art concepts and stuff were, and what it takes to build the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, this newsletter or dev diary is pretty short, sweet. They kind of let you know that things are still going on, which a lot of studios or companies out there, they don't even think to do that, but it's what we want to see. Even the most minor of updates gives us reassurance that yes, things are happening. It's not just, it'll be done when it's done, guys, and then all of a sudden you turn into the next EverQuest next vaporware. This reassures you, yes, we are working on it. Yes, there is progress. we can't give you a whole lot of detail right now, but hey, we're working on it.
True.
Yeah.
True. All right, Yarnilla, what's your take on the newsletter this week?
Well, they went into, they took a step forward and offered some deeper insight into the development process with the interview from Monty. So that was definitely interesting to see and get his take on, his views, how he sees the development of Pantheon, him being the environmental artist, etc. So yeah.
All I gotta say is that guy is amazing. I watched him stream that little wall that he made or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that guy is awesome. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he's on the team.
Yep, I was watching that over the weekend, Labor Day weekend. Matter of fact, here in the United States, he was doing that. He was just taking a picture and modeling a building, and within about an hour and 30 minutes, he had this really nice looking model. So I was just really impressed how he just did it. And I talked to him a little bit in stream and asked him, I must take a lot of patience because I had already given up and smashed the computer and left the room. The stuff that he was dealing with right there. I was like, just wow. But he made it look like it was like sliding on ice and just cake. So
it's like second nature. He's all click, 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 click.
exactly. I was just like watching him do this. I'm like, man, I tried playing with some 3D programs and I'm like lost. First off, I'm getting confused by the X, Y, Z and the rotations and all that. It's just like, okay, I need to take a step back. So
it's like he's doing this complex stuff, right, with the Unity engine, etc. And if we try to do that in Landmark, that my PC would be out the window.
Mm.
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
smash!
Right, exactly, smash.
And they give you so many, they made it so easy, and he just makes it look like,
Yeah.
When you're good, it looks easy.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really, really smooth. He just made it really smooth, and within an hour and 30 minutes, he just had this nice model. No textures, but just the model itself is pretty cool. So, okay, we'll go ahead and we'll kind of summarize a little bit of the newsletter. I don't want to read it too much word for word and bore you guys, but if you haven't checked it out, I'll go ahead and kind of summarize a little bit here, and then we'll kind of move on. Okay, so first off, the question was posed to him is, what is your main character's in-game name, and how did you come up with it? And he says his main character will be named Amber Oakhart. Amber is the name of my cat, named after the Chronicles of Amber by Roger Zelazny. As for my family name, I like it when the fantasy meets names combine a natural element or material with body part, iron beard or bronze bottom. Oakhart was somewhat inspired by a thorn oaken shield from The Hobbit. I also think oak tree would look very nice on my character's family crest or sigil. And
Nice.
He went on to say, what is the interest you most about Pantheon: Rise of the Fallen? And one of the things about Pantheon that really drew me in was the fact that the game won't be holding my hand and guiding me. No question, exclamation marks, no glowing waypoints telling me where to go. That I won't be on the rails going from quest hub to quest hub. No map showing me where all my objectives are. And I'm especially happy that there won't be a looking for group tool automatically forms a group for me and teleports us all to the dungeon or raid. So
Yeah, awesome.
that is that's an awesome. So right there, that gives you a clue, folks, that this is where Pantheon's going. They're adhering to the tenets, So if you're tired of those quests on rails, here's a game for you. What will your main race and class be and why? He said I'll mostly be playing human as my main. I try to play my mains as idealized fantasy version of myself and often connect with my character more when they're human. And we kind of spoke about this the last time in the race discussion. Remember we were saying that, they have to have humans because there's people who want to play humans. And here's a good example, with John Despera, Montassir. He wants to play a human character. So he doesn't want to be an Iskar. He doesn't want to be a Darkmere. He just wants to be a human. So we got to have those humans in our games just for those folks who want to connect with that way. I always make my mains healer, and I'm fairly certain I will be choosing a cleric for Pantheon. So we know John's probably going to be playing a cleric. So there you go. And he said the question was posed to him is, what is your favorite system, mechanic, or feature insofar in Pantheon? One of my favorite systems in Pantheon is the idea of the progeny system. There's not a lot of real information outside of the speculation at the moment, but I believe it can have many interesting features to it. I like the idea of my character having a family line and passing on some traits to their children. Perhaps there will be an NPC interactions that differ for a progeny character because of the choices I made by their predecessors. I'm quite excited to see what the devs have planned for the progeny system. So there's another clue, folks. So definitely look at this progeny system and what they can do to make, your choices matter when you play one character and then all of a sudden you play, a different character. So it's very interesting. And then if you could enter the game and visit anywhere in Terminus for 1 hour, where would you like to go and why? And John said Kaga Sands. He's always liked and loved the desert areas and games, the beauty of the dunes, the excitement when you spot some vegetation by an oasis, which I think may be very important in the case of Pantheon with its environmental systems. So there's a hint and a clue right there that the environmental systems, you might need to go to that oasis to get water because you're actually dehydrating and dying in that desert because the environment is actually beating you down and it doesn't have to take a mob to do so. So
Hell yeah.
that's kind of cool. And then the next question was, finally, if you had to choose between being chased by Aerodune and his fiery sword, or taken prisoner by goblins, what would you choose and why? And he said, I'd definitely choose to be chased around by Aerodune wielding the legendary fiery sword. One can be captured by goblins any day, but how many chances do you get to be chased around by Aerodune? So good information there. Good stuff. And to kind of bring you into the fray here, I'm not going to go over the technical stuff that he explained and as far as the modeling is concerned, but what I am going to do is go ahead and bring you folks up some screenshots of that. So this is the artwork that was released in that newsletter, and it was the Arches of Haven song, and Celeris Copus, I think was the name that was down there in the cursive writing, is Thrown Fast Historian. So this is obviously something to do with the humans. And if you look at these arches modeled and you see the character at the very bottom screen in the first top right-hand picture, they're pretty big arches. And then you see at the bottom left, that's what they look like in game. So some pretty neat art that was released with that newsletter. So hopefully we'll see more cool things like this. But yeah, that's the new stuff that was released lately. So you know the game's in process.
Find details on those.
Oh yeah, so
I just think it's cool how they take somebody's artwork and then turn it into a 3D model and then implement it in the game. I think that's the whole thing. Is awesome.
Exactly. So let me go ahead and bring us back to the top here, and we'll kind of discuss some of that and kind of go over that. So what do you think?
I think it looks amazing. You can see the level of work that has to be put in there, the thoughts, the different layering, etc. And for him, it looks easy. But when you've actually tried to mess around and dabble with this kind of stuff, it does take in, there's a lot of things you need to talk about. The textures have to match each other. The lighting has to work on the textures, because the texture might look good to you at that point, but if you've got no lighting in there, it can look totally different when you have the lighting in, and it might not work out as you wanted it to do. So the effect won't be in there. And that bottom screenshot, you see the sun blazing through the woods there, shining off of those pillars and everything. It just looks really cool.
Definitely, and some lighting effects in there.
There's so many things that can go wrong. Well, pretty much like everything else in video games. Making that one single pillar. Your textures can overlap wrong. They can clip onto the model wrong. You can get seams. You can get lighting errors. I mean, it's ridiculous how much stuff can go wrong. I can't 3D model. I have mad respect for people that can do it, because it is just, I'm a coder, I'm a developer, software engineer, and this stuff is just right over my head.
Yeah, awesome. Kodiak?
No, I think it looks sweet. Especially like I said, with the sun glaring through the trees, with the lighting. Yeah, it's amazing.
The thing is, what I saw, if you could bring that back up, if you look at the far distance, it looks like either it's my eyes playing with me, but if you look through the pillars, the top pillars, the large ones,
I think I know what you're talking about.
There seems to be like a tower in the background.
Yeah, it does. It seems like maybe this is on the way to the road of Thronefast, perhaps, and maybe that's part of Thronefast in the background, maybe. Yeah, I see it now. The tower back between the pillars. Yep. Wow. Yeah, it's looking absolutely amazing. Yep. Always teasing us with little bits and pieces. Always.
Damn you!
Yeah.
That's where the summoners. That's where that is going to be.
The Grand Wizard lives in the top of that thing.
That's where I'm living. All right. Come up and visit me. Just don't cross me. I might throw a fireball down at you or something, right?
Actually, I'm reading too much of the story.
Two or three of them actually in that screenshot. You can see 2 or 3 going down.
Yeah, it's awesome. Looks really good. Okay, so we'll kind of move along here. We'll go ahead and we'll start the hot topic stuff here. So
Dun,
Yep.
dun, dun.
Let's get this hot topic stuff up and rolling. So let me get to the forums here. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about 3 topics in the forums that seem to be kind of jumping back and forth right now. One is the how to get our world more immersive in social city life. The second one is economic factors and currency, and that kind of sprung up after our show last week. And then somebody also brought up something about magic banking. So we'll go ahead and we're going to try to kick off into how to make our world more immersive in city and social life. So let me bring that up here. All right, so I think it's Cathera said, first off, I'm sorry if I'm making redundancies here with other posts or topics in the forums. I know my post could be a bit naive, and I know the devs are already working hard to implement these kind of ideas. He says, I saw in many posts or shows like The Voice of the Terminus, which thank you very much for mentioning us. We really appreciate that. By the way, congrats, guys. You make an excellent work. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. VOT for the win. My thoughts before we go further is in these mechanics that we have a good example of how it works in our history in little towns on our planet, not in our modern city. So he's basically saying look back to the medieval ages and stuff like that. So I'm not talking about a realistic vision because realism in an MMO could feel boring. I'm talking more about how logical the exchange between people should be and becomes more social, immersive, and natural in the cohesion with our real life pace. The marketplace. So he had his comments on the marketplace. In a medieval town or a little city in Africa or Asia, a place like the market was and is the center of social life. Even time and calendar are based on it. In an MMO, there's nothing else more awful than the auction house in the terms of immersion. To see 100 players near just one NPC who's managing all the markets is awful, and it makes the other parts of the city quite empty. Marketplaces in cities should be the center of our trade, even more in the local way to seeing it. NPC vendors could sell our items by specialties. If you're an experienced blacksmith, you could help the local one repair more efficiently players' armors, and you could pay fees on trade to encourage direct player trade. In EverQuest 2, there were 2 classes of players. So kind of give your guys' opinion of the marketplace thing, what he said in the little medieval town. What do you think of that? I mean,
it's absolutely spot on. I've been very enthusiastic about this very topic and what he's been touching on in this. The way I would like to see the marketplace, exactly how he describes it, there should be individual installments, blacksmithing, woodworking, etc., and then your normal market where you would trade off stuff, your generalized stuff that nobody else wants. Basically, you would go to that person and have the marketplace be alive. And like we've been talking about in our shows, is have the marketplace be really alive by having time cycles. So they open up the market in the morning, they set up shop, and then it becomes the evening, they start to close down shop, and the NPCs aren't technically gone, they're just somewhere else. They've gone home, so you have to go somewhere else. Or the quest NPC that might be, one of the market NPCs is now, it might be in the tavern, or it might be somebody else offering the similar quest or the same quest that leads down a different road. So I think it's, spot on. And like you said, don't look at, real life terms as in, our modern day and age. Look back in history how it was. I mean, look at movies like Braveheart. Look at movies like, even old Western movies and stuff, how it was all built up. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
if you look at that, that's how it was.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia, another good example.
That's that Prince of Persia where they're in the marketplace and he's running around.
Yep.
True. Lex?
Well, I've always been a firm believer that the way you add more immersion to a game without going overboard is all the little things. It's not one big grand idea.
Yeah.
That will suck people in. It's all these little things, like anything from like small details on the walls to how you interact with NPCs. I love this idea because it makes a person interact with the NPCs as if they were people from both spectrums, the purchaser and the seller. It kind of adds to the whole, this city is alive, not this section of the city is alive and the rest just crumbles.
Yeah, true.
But somehow it's pristine, So I love it. It's great. It's if I was making a game, that is what I would go for personally.
Cool.
You nailed it though, Lex. You brought it to the point. It's the little things that aren't directly game mechanics to the player itself. It's everything around that. That is more important than trying to balance. Okay, obviously balancing a character is obviously important, but what I'm trying to get at, it's stuff like this, the little things that are more important than the big picture sometimes.
Mm.
The little
True.
things are.
I think that's one thing that game studios are missing these days. It's not this one grand unifying feature that's going to really make their game a success. It's really paying attention to the fine details because,
Yep.
I mean, let's say you go through a short dungeon, right? Most people are just going to run through, kill a thing, get the loot, and go.
Yep.
Because there's no fine detail to the game. I'm the kind of person where if I see a painting on the wall and it's in detail, I'm going to stop and be like, oh my God, look at this. Oh my God. You know, even if it's just something tiny or you see scratches on the wall that lead to some crazy, ghoul or something.
Yeah.
Because I see those scratches and all of a sudden I start feeling a little anxious. Even if I don't realize I am. I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen? And all of a sudden this thing pops out. You're like, oh my God, shut it off.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Yeah, because EverQuest today, the original EverQuest, there's still clues and hints to some of the details they put in the game that still haven't been discovered by people, believe it or not. There are little hints and clues. If you take and pay attention to some of the artwork in the game, there's a good video on YouTube where somebody actually did that. It's just amazing what you didn't pick up on, that if you actually stopped and paid attention to details, it'd just blow your mind. So, okay, kind of moving along that way so we don't hammer this one to death, but it's a very good read, and we'll kind of go on. And he did make some comments about the taverns and temples. And he says, to make the cities alive and create social between us, and I think places like the temples and taverns should be important too. Again, some post in the forum and VOT talked about it. But it should be a rendezvous point in our game. Rumors could be heard indeed to engage future quests, but it's a place where you can restore yourself too. And their alcohol tolerance skills could be more than the original EverQuest. You could eat, watch a show on a scene with a juggler or dancer or musician. Maybe it makes you gain some buffs. You could pray in the temple, light a candle, etc. So right there, I kind of like that too. You can actually pray in a temple. So maybe you have the ability to actually, as a cleric, pray in the temple to gain, some buffs. Or this is a place where players who picked up, like I was talking about in the last stream, where they picked up a disease in a river, they got too close to a dead animal out in the middle of nowhere, and actually, believe it or not, this is a place where a character who, say, couldn't find a cleric in game but knows, hey, if I go to the temple in the city, this is where I can get my cure, and talk to an NPC there or a cleric that might be hanging out there taking donations to cure the sick. So there's no alternative. So actually, if you don't want to put an NPC cleric in there, player clerics can actually go to this temple, hang out, take donations or whatever, or just be there to help people and heal them of that disease or something like that. So there's just a thought that crossed my mind when I was reading his post. So there's some really good posts out there, and this is what I like about it, is that nobody's cutting each other down. Only in certain forums there are, or certain posts they are, which is getting crazy. But like we said, we like to try to get everybody in the community work together and give suggestions and constructive feedback.
Positive.
Yep. And this is a positive way. He's taken on some of the things we discussed and actually embracing them a little bit and throwing out some more ideas in there too, which made me think, well, hey, why don't we have it so where clerics can go to these temples and heal people? That just played on top of my idea. So I was like, wow. Take a look at this post. It was really good. Let's see, the workshops, he crafted in games. He talks about the workshops and stuff, and then the harbors, So definitely look at this post. It was pretty good. It's how to get our world more immersive and social, the city life. So it was a really good hot topic that started brewing up. So I just want to kind of cover that. And thanks again for the shout out. We really appreciate that. And we'll go ahead and we'll move on to the next one. And that is economic factors and currency. And I think this one kind of sprang out of another topic we talked about on our show, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Okay. We were talking centralized versus decentralized economies.
Yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and we'll throw this one up here. And even Brad chimed in on this, so which makes this a post a little bit more interesting as well. Toop said, I will keep it short since this is a super econ nerd stuff, and most people don't enjoy this spreadsheet warrior lifestyle. So the economy will be a cornerstone of my gameplay, and there's a lot of discussion around auction houses, global regional banks, taxes, fees, delivery, etc. I like to raise a discussion on currency, and we'll keep it simple. Over time, the game will increase in the amount of currency and items available depending on how quickly the items are obtained and how quickly currency is obtained. There will be an inflation factor, taking into account variables such as bots, plat, gold sellers, etc. This is important to remember that currency will need to exit the economy on a regular basis to maintain economic order. Multiple currencies. If there are two currencies available, one per major continent, assuming two continents, maybe good faction, evil faction money, this will change the dynamic of gameplay, impose not only sales taxes but conversion fees, which can be adjusted automatically. This can allow for development team to keep tabs on total currency in game versus total items in game. If there are markets, they will also have total base value. So he kind of goes on about that. And Brad came back with this. He was the first one to post to this, actually, which was quite interesting. He said, I really like the multiple currency idea and have brought it up. There could be money changers, etc., but I was met with some resistance, some fearing it would just add unnecessary complexity to buying, selling, etc. So at this point, it's kind of up in the air. To your other statements, currency will not generally increase except as more people join the shard. Obviously, as more people start playing on a shard, the more mobs will be killed and the quest completed, and they'll be building up their wealth. But on the whole, if we do it right, the amount of currency in a shard should not simply constantly grow larger because people are constantly earning money. To keep this under control and actually to really make currency have value, there has to be an effective money sink. There has to be any array of reasons to why you, the player, need and want to spend money, either buying something from another player or buying things from merchants and NPC vendors. If you don't have the sinks or they're not effective, then yes, there's more and more money, and then the money loses value. There are numerous proven work item sinks. I'll just say at this point that I'm personally not a fan of having to repair your gear, but that's just me at this point. Now, items are a very different story. While item sinks are just as important as money sinks, we do actually, in a slow and controlled manner, want there to be more and more items in game. Now, this gets into some pretty heavy mudflation theory crafting. I did write a dev diary on it, and he did post a thing, so I'm not going to go over that for you. But the bottom line is, as long as we're introducing new and exciting items into the game, and as long as twinking doesn't get out of hand, meaning the item sinks need to be compelling, slow mudflation is actually a good thing. I actually think that some mechanics introduced in the last 15 years have actually done more harm than good. It may be easy to mark something no trade or bind on equip or even flat out disallow a player to player trade it, but also you may lose more than you gain. It's worth the extra effort to embrace but slow mudflation economic model. At least I sincerely believe that to be true, and it's an issue I've been thinking about and brainstorming with every very smart person since the 90s when I started playing MUD several years ago before I started designing EQ. It's by no means a new issue. I imagine the creators of the first multiplayer online RPG had to deal with it. Heck, someone like Ralph Koster could probably create a documentary on it. So it was quite interesting about the currency and multiple currency thing. So Lex, your take?
Well, okay, I'm going to take this from a developer point of view here. While multiple currencies could add a lot in terms of immersion and just more real feel to the game, it's a lot of stuff behind the scenes for a developer. I mean, you have to track every type of currency. You have to get a rough value of it. You have to get sinks for individual types. And yeah, I know you could do a currency exchange, and that could centralize basically the conveyor belt for currency out. But it's still a lot of work when you could just say, here's one currency, guys, have at it, make my life a lot easier. So it's a balancing act. Do I want to see additional currencies? Sure, but then you run into stuff with games where you got token drops for loot because, and essentially that's just currency. You get a couple, you spend it on gear. I hate that system. I hate it with a passion. I think money sinks have to be very carefully designed, but there are a lot of ways that you can do money sinks. Everything from, paying for short or long duration buffs to reses to whatever, tons of just cosmetic stuff that you could even do with in-game currency, whatever.
Yeah, or like regions for spellcasters.
Yeah, or mounts or regents, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's not easy to do, and usually when you see a game that has no drop or no trade or whatever, that's generally a cop-out for economic design. because it's like, oh, we're just not going to let them sell this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, but the fact of the matter is, the whole economy is going to inflate no matter what, because you can't predict the amount of players that are going to be in the game and how fast they're going to get currency. You can just estimate. So you're going to get some inflation. The key to it is just controlling that inflation so that when your first expansion comes out, you don't get the WoW syndrome where in vanilla WoW, 100 gold was a big deal. And then Burning Crusade comes out and all of a sudden 100 gold is chump change,
Yeah.
Because if those of you who played WoW during vanilla, your first mount, I think, was like 100 gold, maybe. And it took people forever to get their first mounts.
Which is
you
a
were
good
killing
thing.
stuff and selling everything.
Which I like.
You hit
Challenge.
Burning Crusade, and everyone's like, I've got 1,000 gold chump change,
Yeah.
That's inflation to the 10th degree, literally. So that's a huge jump. That's not just a minor little inflation.
Wouldn't it be more like better for the developers to develop an inflation tool so as more people play, more money's getting earned, the items go up in cost?
The way
so that they keep that hard, so it's hard to get that much money.
The way I picture it from his description, let's just go by his example, having two currencies. You got the currency on the left continent, the currency on the right continent. Right, so you're now a player on the left continent. You've gathered your currency. You go to your markets. You buy your stuff with your currency. Boom, it's all good and fair. You come over now to the other continent, and now you haven't got their currency. But like Kodiak just said, you could add basically a rating system in the market on each side. So basically, where you would pay on the right 10 gold for an item, you've got to pay 15 of your currency.
Right, and as a developer, the first thought of that is, oh my God, the work. But what I would do, because the key to being a good developer is being lazy, believe it or not. Do as much as possible with as little work. I would do it on a tier system. Like if your inflation rating is here to here, then you get this. You don't get an increase in cost. If it's from here to here, you get this much. If it's here to here, you get this much.
Coach, I like that.
And only have it like 4 tiers, where it can range from 0% increase to 5, 15, 20, 30 or something like that.
Because this kind of touches on the previous topic as well about the immersion. If you think about it, not so far ago, not so long ago, about 250 years ago, we traded no differently. I gave you a camel, for Christ's sake, for 5 sacks of ice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. What if you did have to pay taxes back to your racial city?
Yeah.
Based on
you should.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
There should be like a major money sink on housing, more so on guild, and that should go for different tiers. So the higher tier of a guild hall you have will say you have to spend exponentially more, because the bigger your guild, the more people you have, the easier it is to afford. Blah 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 blah. But I mean, you could do that to guild shops. You could do that, say, if you have multiple mounts and you have to stable your other mounts, you pay per mount.
What about even paying a tax for actually, being able to be a part of that city, as well?
I'd go for that.
You being a citizen, you have to pay citizens tax just to stay a citizen within that city.
Yeah,
you could even another way to take it out.
Yeah, you could even do something where going to an inn to gain rested experience, you have to rent a room.
Yeah, I mean,
tons of little things that you can do for that. It's just,
exactly. Like
it is a lot of extra work. I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot of extra work.
Well,
and generally economies in a game, the way they fix them is they just throw a bunch in or they take a bunch out.
Yeah,
that's just what they do. It's the easiest way to deal with inflation and to basically reset the economy. But if you spend the time and do it right, none of that stuff ever has to happen.
Really, expansions kill the economy, because as the level goes up and then mobs drop more money and stuff like that. Normally,
I mean, if I look at it, if I compare it now to EverQuest 2, my days, you start out and you're earning you're earning copper, you're earning 5 copper, 3 copper, 2 copper, 24 copper, and then you go down like 2-3 expansions, you're already earning 5, 6, 7 gold per quest, and then you get to the end tier and you're earning like 1, 2, 3, 4 plat per quest. So the jumps in currency are what kill it. And I've been talking about this basically. There's so many quests out there that are useless, that are pointless, that give poor reward or reward where it shouldn't be given. You'll get a house item again and again and again. You'll have the 50th bucket that you can put in your house, etc. They should take more. They should focus more on having epic quests with longer storylines that are more dangerous, reward you far more, and have the little quests just be something on the side you can do to up your faction and this, that, and the other, and not try and put let's put money all over in this low level zone, and then we'll go into the next one, we'll put money all over there, you get a bit here, a bit there. They should reward us for the harder quests.
Yeah.
Make it value, give you value for putting in the hard work.
Okay, well, I kind of have an idea here too. I like this currency thing. What I think it should be is like this. Everybody in the game earns the same currency, your gold, silver, copper, whatever. But then what happens is for specialized items, or maybe say crafting items, you have to pay with a regional currency, which is say 2 regional currencies. I kind of like just keeping it minimum to 2, then it's not too complex for everybody. So say the 2 different continents, and maybe if they add a third continent, then you can add a third continent currency. So it'll keep it very basic, because anything going up to 10 different currencies, people are going to go, this is BS. But if you keep it down to like a 2 or 3, people will probably be happy with that. It's a good compromise. So what you do is you take your gold, silver, and copper and you exchange it for the regional currency. And this regional currency is then used to buy your crafting supplies, your threads, your needles, whatever it is that you need from maybe say NPC vendors, which takes out the currency out of your pocket, which makes you buy your exchange rate, which you get a little tax on too. So they can tax that a little bit more, make it a little bit more costly. So that way you're still sinking money, and then you're sinking also that regional currency you just bought to buy those different things.
And plus it has value, because like
it has value.
If you think about it, if you look at all these MMOs out there now, they do have multiple currencies. You do have your plat, that's your general currency, but at the end of the day, you go in a raid for the tier 3 raid, you'll get like a pattern that is as classed as a currency. You have to go to the vendor, give in that pattern, pay a bit of plat, but then the next raid comes out and they introduce a new currency for that, and and that's what kind of got people frustrated. Again, I've got to go out and gather these new things to get my new raiding gear and this and that.
I think
with your idea, it's kind of cool.
I just say keep it simple. That way, if they do bring in different continents, they can keep the number of different currencies down. So go based off of large regions. Like say one continent has 20 zones, the other continent has 20 zones. So right there, 20 zones equals 1 new regional currency. So if they bring out an expansion with say 15, that is close to having a new currency. Just keep it simple, nothing crazy or complex. But what you do is you're making people use their money to buy that currency to buy other things.
And plus, with the tier as well, they can always up the different, the exchange rate. So you start off, let's say, with tier 1, and you have the local currency, and it's like, let's say it's 1-to-1. 1 gold is 1 local currency. But now you're at T5 level, so it's like 1-to-5. You've got to pay 5 times the amount to get for the equivalent of the currency. So it always goes up. That's the way to balance it as well. It's to make you pay more the higher you go for the higher gear.
As long as they keep the type of like regional and keep the number down to a reasonable amount, like 4, maybe 5.
Yeah.
It's actually a very good idea, because that causes a trickle effect of money leaving the economy. It's not just big chunks going, it's a constant trickle. Small amounts over and over.
Constantly. Yep. True.
And if we've learned anything from like Office Space, taking the fraction of a penny, throwing it to the side, eventually you rich.
Everything my Kepler. I'm going to burn this place down. Okay, so moving along now. That was quite the interesting topic. So if you guys want to check that out, it's in the forums. It was pretty good, but it's kind of based off of something we talked about in a couple of our previous streams. But there's ideas floating around right now, how to make some money sinks, make different currencies, because that is a big thing, is, the inflation problem. And I think too, with the regional, merchants and regional cities, regionally local economies, believe it or not, that stuff will actually work, because you charge a fee to set up your vendor, stuff like that. Because right now, Brad is tossing around the idea. He likes the idea of setting up an NPC vendor so you can go out and play while you're online having a good time with your friends, you have an NPC vendor selling your stuff. Because seriously, do you want to spend an hour, 2 hours of your game time sitting in a city marketplace selling your items? Me particularly not, because the time I want to spend it with my friends going on adventures and discovering the game. So you definitely want to take and think about those things, because there's a lot of people who are hell-bent on no way, no NPC vendors. But there has to be a happy compromise so some of us can actually go adventure. If you want, you can hang out in those places and use your time and sell your stuff personally. You don't have to put on a vendor. Nobody says you have to. But this is an option for those players who don't have the time to do what you want to do. And that's my biggest argument with some of those folks out there too, is that you don't have to use an NPC vendor. If you want to hang out in the city and spend 5 hours trying to sell your wares, good luck. That's on you, not us. I'd rather put my stuff on an NPC guy, roll out and pay him some fee, whatever, a money sink, and go have fun with my friends. So just some stuff to think about.
Well, I think I'm far too important to bother to stand around and sell stuff. But seriously though,
Carnage adds towards this as well. Once a city collects a set amount of tax, it should grow and offer better services. We also talked about that.
Yes, we did.
Love this, that's the whole point. Is basically
the evolution of the city.
If we put in taxes and we pay taxes, obviously we expect, and it's something we've always missed. The city's been the city; it's never changed unless the developers decide to go in, put a fireball through the whole city and burn it to the ground or whatever, like they did in Cataclysm and World of Warcraft, or what
hasn't changed in 17 years.
Or Freeport in Kanos and EverQuest 2 when they revamped it all. But this is the small stuff again. This is what it comes down to. It's these little things that we like. They don't have to make major changes, but at least make it look like something's happening within the city, and that our money sink, our taxes are actually doing something. We are contributing to our city. That we are actually being a part of this city and being involved in its wealth and growth and etc. We have a choice to bring it up.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's always bugged me in every game. Once they finish a zone, they move on to something else. It's like, why do you never come back here and just change something? Like, maybe the tavern moved a little bit. Maybe
it burned down.
Burnt down, and now it's across town. Maybe this person got a new roof. Maybe this guy has a new door. You don't have to do a lot. We're just saying do something.
Yeah.
Right?
That'll keep us talking.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Like, you gotta come over here.
Dudes, it changed.
Where the tavern it's a burnt piece of just garbage here. Help me find the tavern.
And there's a gnome. There's a gnome standing outside with a match, and he's the one that did it.
Have some fun with it. But like with NPC vendors.
And we have to figure out why.
For you. Here's another
those sign flippers.
Opens up a quest. Find out who burnt the tavern down.
Yeah.
Make it an event. There you go. New ideas. Right. You can add quests to it.
All right, so moving along. Sorry.
In respect to the NPC vendor.
Moving along before we beat up the currency topic, we're going to have to move on to banking.
I'll say about the NPC vendor is that there's another cash thing for if you don't want a vendor, you get 100% of the profit. If there is an NPC vendor that you get, he gets a percentage off the top.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay, so there was a topic that was brought up. It was called magic banking. And this is kind of something we kind of touched in our last economics discussion too, which was keeping bank accounts separate around the world. So if you go to the Scar Bank, guess what? Your stuff's in the Scar Bank and it stays there. And if I go to Thronefast, guess what? I can't access my stuff in the Scar Bank. So this person, what's his name? Newbie Doo. So he's a newbie. Newbie Doo says, "Hello, Panthers," or whatever. I was reading another discussion and came upon something I wanted to sniff out. In most MMOs, the items you store in a bank can be accessed from anywhere across the world. I was wondering how everyone felt about this, and should the items we store in banks be accessible from strictly the bank we put those in? Or do you prefer having access to your items from any bank around the world? So
this is basically the epitome of hot topic, because everyone doesn't want to touch it.
Yeah, so Centro said, "Hey newbie, the most recent show from the Voices Terminus, thank you. Really appreciate it. Featured a fairly detailed discussion about your very question. You should check it out." So as far as my 2 cents go, I like the idea of having a detached local banks where your items and money go. What you put into your bank is where they're at and only accessible from that bank, no other. Remember that Aerodune had mentioned pets are going to play an important role in Pantheon. I think the inherent risk of packing up your horse or what you have to travel to a new city will help anchor communities to grow in many cities by investing players to have some sort of home city for a while. I think if we detach banks, we will see decent populations in every city, each with their own set of crafters, adventurers, traders, and etc., which will add the character of that city and make visiting in new places even that much more enjoyable. It's risky to uproot yourself from one city, but once you make the new move, it's very likely it's a living city with its own bustling economy and players that call it home. Having a home city anchored by a detached bank would be a wonderful shared experience for us players. So, yeah, I agree with that whole post about having just, you put your stuff in a bank, it's in that bank only, not accessible around the world, because you kind of need a home base.
And we were talking about this before the show too. Is that even if let's say you had a bank in Throne Fast, and then you had a bank in the Ogre City, and you had a bank in whatever, so you get one bank for free, right? But maybe you could pay in-game money to have a bank in multiple cities. So there's another money sink for you.
I was thinking on this one after our discussion, and I came to this kind of conclusion. I mean, yeah, it's nice because sometimes like, oh, there's a raid, I lost track of time, I don't have a lot of time, so I need this now, right? And then I thought of it from the banker's perspective. The ability to transport items is a magical ability.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a unique and marketable ability, why am I not charging for it? Why am I doing this for free? So you could say, talk to the magic banker or the mage banker, whatever you want to call him, and for a fee, he can bring stuff from the bank.
Yeah, from another city's bank.
Yeah. But
good idea.
Cash is fun because cash is like, an IOU system.
It's
That's all
like an
you're
ATM
doing.
card.
Yeah. Here's my ID.
Yeah.
Not half my 5 gold. But doing like a magic banker, there's another economy sink to it. Plus, it can be instantaneous because you're saying, I'm magic, I can do it. And you have quick access if you really want it. If you don't need to use it. If you've got the time to run back home, then go run back home and save yourself money. If you're like me, you're impatient, your time's worth money, just pay it and move along your merry way.
Because it all comes down to convenience in the end, isn't it? We get
it's all about convenience.
It always costs something.
Yep.
If I forgot to pack my stuff, I should be punished for it. My fault. I mean, if I walk out my house, I'm not going to go, and drive 10 kilometers down the road. I'm not going to stop on the road and pop into the house right next to me and pick up my stuff, am I?
No. So there you have it. Unless you're a thief. I don't know how well they would treat you over there in Germany for stealing somebody's stuff out of their house just because you forgot your shit at home. But yeah, there's got to be something, for convenience. You got to be kind of charged, I think, because it's, you want, the thing is too, with having the banks separate, it also makes the world bigger too. So, you're going out on the adventure, it makes it more dangerous. It forces you to learn these other banks and other places too. So it gives you a sense of travel and adventure.
Here you go. If, like in the Dwarven City Bank, right? You're going to store all your cold resist stuff in that bank, right? In the Scar Bank, you would store all of your heat resist stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have multiple banks in multiple cities and be
it's almost like having
for whatever you're going to ready to do in that zone or that area.
Well, if you're
that almost feels like you have stashes. Like secret little stashes.
Yes,
like, I'm going to go over here, so I got all the stuff for here.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is like it's the voice of the term is secret stash network. It's where your secret black market, where you're going to store stuff throughout all the different cities. You could take a bunch of contraband and move it to a city over here and sell it to all the players. I mean, you could really make this interesting if you set up your little caches throughout the world.
But the big thing is what you touched on, Dow, is
it's like a little squirrel, secret squirrel stuff. Sorry,
you
go
said
ahead.
it though. You brought it to the point though. It makes us actually move around the world and engage in it, having to go from area to area. I forgot my stuff in the Ogre Town, so I need to go back from Throne Fast to the Ogre Town. It makes me move back and forth, and while I'm doing that, something might happen.
Exactly.
I might have somebody in my group all of a sudden who I've never had in my group before.
Hit a perception quest.
And a perception quest pops up.
Yep.
Hey, I've got something to do.
Yep. You have something to do
Well,
now.
here's another idea. Okay, you want to promote interaction with people. You want to promote running around the world and seeing everything and interacting with the world. So, what if you had a bank? You know, you have basically decentralized banking. So, what is it? In your bank in Scargol is there, but because your guild is technically like an organization, theoretically they'd have caravans going to every town anyway for whatever reason. You could say trading, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe your
Put in
guild
a
bank gives
requisition
you
or
access to all the banks, which gives you a reason to join a guild, which gives you a reason to talk to people, which gives you a reason to go and adventure with strangers. I mean, there's lots of ways to go about this thing.
I'm sorry, I was just reading over Coach's statement. I think you guys are going overboard on the realism for this topic. Maybe we should only carry one backpack or get his sprained ankles tripping over a twig.
I tripped once running from
Mosville. Coach, I told you to stay away from that diseased frickin' pack mule. And what'd you do? You got yourself plagued, dude. You're going to have to go back to the city and talk to the cleric, bro. Sorry. But, what's that? Pantheon Templar system. Yeah, and see, that's what I was kind of thinking too, Dark Soul, because that's what the Dark Templar or the Templars did back in the day. Was they actually gave a note coded with the amount of money that they deposited back here in, say, England, and then when they got to the Holy City in Jerusalem, they took that coded note to the banks there, and then the Crusaders there, the Templars there, bam, gave you the amount that you actually deposited back in England. So that's an interesting concept too. So actually, I believe too that would work too. Pay for convenience. So Lexus got a point there too. Is like say I earned up a lot of money, but I can actually earn money and actually buy this convenience where I unlocked maybe the bank over here in Thronefast. Now I save up more money. I unlock the bank over here in Scargol. Bam, I unlock the bank over in Wild's End, and bang. So slowly you earn these convenient ways. I think that's how it should be brought on, not instantaneous. So if you were to give me the option to buy them for convenience, then that would be an awesome money sink right there in game. But it's got to be a huge money sink, not this little cheesy, oh, here's 100 silver to unlock this bank. No, I'm talking maybe, say, 1,000 gold, 2,000 gold to unlock the convenience of that bank. Yeah, it's got to be insane. That way you have something to work for. You see, you have a goal. So, because a lot of people, I don't have a goal in game anymore. Well, here's a goal of convenience. So now you can unlock those things. So, let's look at it that way too. You can unlock the convenience items.
Guild system to it. I mean, there's one more reason to be a part of a guild.
Yep, that too. The guild can deposit money.
Exposure to new people.
Yep. True.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're in a huge guild that, no one really talks to you because they all have their own cliques, eventually someone's going to say hi to you, and that's going to strike up a conversation.
Yep.
And boom, you might make a friend for life.
Right. I mean, come on. I mean, these are some interesting ideas. They're great ideas, and there's ways to work around it. And believe it or not, folks, the biggest thing here is trying to find a good compromise without destroying gameplay, destroying the social aspect of the game, and breaking players apart. But also kind of driving everybody to adventure as well, because the reward is the adventure when you think about it. I had a lot of fun going to different zones and getting people killed with me, adventuring around, to the different zones. So
somebody talk to Frogsaw. He feels sad.
Oh, Frog. Sorry. So Frog, what do you got? You got an idea? Checkbook for Ox? Okay. So with that being said, I mean that's the interesting topics right now. The hot topics are kind of in the forums, but check them out. Throw your opinion, throw some ideas. I mean, we're all here to speculate and sometimes and looking at everybody's ideas, but in the end, there's got to be a nice compromise so everybody can have fun. Because realism sometimes realism is a little too much for a game. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of difference and a little bit of play. But yeah, it's some good topics, so check them out.
In the grand scheme of things, everybody needs to be willing to give up a little bit.
Yep.
I'm not saying a lot. Just give up a little bit, because everyone's going to give up just a little bit. One person wants ultra realism in the game. Well, this other person wants super convenience. Both of you just give up just a little bit.
Yep.
And now you're both happy.
And you want to, and in the end, you all want to, have this socialization, which bases off socialism. People. It's a socialism system. Everybody has to give a bit.
Mm.
So that's something to think about.
Mm. Interesting. Scary, but interesting. Okay, so anyways, with that, that's the hot topics, folks, out there. So any questions or comments you'd like to give us, any topics you'd like to discuss quickly, we have some little bit of time we can burn here before we say sayonara, see you till next Thursday, or this Thursday. So please throw out some questions.
Yeah, all I can say, guys, there's a huge sale in the VOT store.
Oh,
If
yes.
you want to see me in pain, you need to get on that, because right now no one bought anything, and I am loving it. I don't have to worry about really bad burps. I don't got to worry about crazy tastes in my mouth. It's wonderful. Ha ha ha.
Ha-ha.
Ha
So,
ha.
ha-ha. Ha-ha. So, any dev gossip? Oh, just to give you a heads up, folks, we went out there and we made a request to VR. We're just waiting for them to get back with us on some dev interviews, So hopefully we'll get John Despair on here since he did his newsletter interview. So hopefully we'll get him on here. So we're just doing a shout out to him, waiting patiently, as they are busy. So we're just sitting back waiting, folks. We've made requests. We're just waiting right now. So it's all on VR's court. All we can do is sit back and wait. So that's all we're doing. So just sit back and wait. But let's see here. Okay, darn it, I was trying to sneak it by. Okay, yeah. So VOT bikini, 50 shots. Wow. Damn. Okay.
We have to get that put up on the site. we have to get that put down on the site. We have to get a VOT bikini now. I want to see this 50 shot. And I want to see the person in the bikini.
Yeah, right. True.
Oh, I wish Twitch let me edit my messages.
Oh, yeah. We also have a contest coming up, folks. We'll give you a little bit more details. But there's going to be another contest as well. Currently, we have it where we want to try to hit 50 folks in the Twitch stream. So if you have friends out there who are humming and hawing on the fence, just have them check us out. Come look at the show. Watch the show. We really appreciate it. Definitely. So is that better volume?
Yep, we'll be easing into the competition to get it started.
Yes.
So you guys know that we're being serious about it.
Yeah, we are serious.
Do you know what we're going to be doing Thursday?
Oh, Thursday. It's fast. I mean, these streams keep coming up so quickly. My brain is like churning, looking for ideas to discuss. But how do you folks think about us discussing the wizard? The wizard class.
The glass cannon.
The glass cannon of all cannons is the wizard.
Give me a burst damage.
Yes, burst damage. So yeah, we're thinking about the wizard. So that's what we might be doing. So does the wizard sound good? Everybody off to see the wizard, the wonderful wizard of Pantheon. So, oh yeah. Okay, look at that. We got some some positive feedback there. All right. So yeah, we're looking at doing the wizard, man. Yep. So we'll be talking about the wizard on Thursday. The class discussion there, getting a little in depth with it. So, yeah, definitely. So be ready. Fireball, fireball, fireball. That's right, Dark Soul. And the website, current status. Lex, would you give us a current status update on the website, please, sir?
Well, I know there hasn't been a whole lot of additions, but that's because a lot of things are changing. The guild, basically, we have the basis of a lore page, the basis of a roster page that we're getting ready for release. We're going to merge those into the coming soon guild page. So the guild's going to have charters, roster, guild lore, plus the stories from the last contest, tons of stuff. So that's going to be the next thing that should be out this week. We'll see.
If he don't get it out this week, folks, we will make him drink 5 lemon shots.
Oh, hell. It's definitely coming up.
All right. So, 360-degree shot or video from in-game. Yeah, we haven't heard any back on the next Twitch stream, but we were hoping it's coming around the corner soon. I think that's probably one of the next dev hurdles. Obviously they go through phases, so I believe they're trying to make their first phase, and then the second phase will probably be more likely the Twitch stream. So the next one, I know we're all looking forward to it and seeing some more in-game action, stuff like that. So, Cool. Any closing statements, Kodiak, you'd like to say?
No, I'm good.
You're good. Lex?
I'm happy with what I'm seeing. I'm super proud of everyone in the forums. There is still a little bit of trolly troublemakers, but for the most part, I'm seeing a lot of really good comments, a lot of really good actual discussions from people. You know, no, I love seeing it when people say, I understand your point of view, but this is mine, and here's why. Versus, I don't like it, you're an idiot. Say that in my comments.
that was a comment we kind of saw today. Somebody asked something about guild goals or something, and this poor guy, this poor poster, was just trying to get some ideas and some feedback, and somebody came back and said no.
Yeah.
So
Be constructive. If
that's a
you
little
have
trolly.
discussion, don't bother.
Yep.
Because you're
Don't
not
you?
helping anyone, you're not helping the game. If
Exactly.
you don't help the game, you're wasting money.
What's that? Can you guys talk about briefly how Brad conceded that they were going to have free focus on the visuals rather than later? I haven't seen that post. If you could give us a link to that post, I'd really appreciate it because we have not seen that one. It must have slipped by our radar. So
Unless they're going to revamp all the character stuff early and get rid of the placeholders.
yeah.
It's
So
a possibility because that's one of the big things that are holding them back right now from a
No,
visual.
basically, I remember reading about it. It was basically he was talking about that they're gonna start focusing on the visuals of certain things, rather earlier than later because the request for it has been so high and demanding, and they decided to reshift their focus a bit.
mm.
To present it earlier to us so that we can see what's actually going on.
That's very strange.
I would still love to see a Scar model because I'm just curious how they're going to pull that off. It is so different, especially with armor. It's difficult.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about that, but I do know there was like when they first streamed out, there's people bitching about the graphics and stuff like that, and those were just placeholder graphics. I mean, what do they expect it to be, like Black Desert Online or something? I'm sorry, but we don't have 50 Koreans locked in a warehouse, a sweatshop, developing content for a video game, folks. I'm
People
sorry.
that are complaining about the placeholders are people that don't understand anything about how a video game is made. You do not start your development with production quality assets because it's ridiculous. Because what's going to happen is things need to be shifted, things are going to need to be altered. So you use really quickly made stuff so you don't have 1,000 hours into this one character model that are just going to have to be redone anyway.
Okay, cool. So with that being said, I think Kodiak, you had an appointment or something you have to get to?
Yeah.
Okay, brother. So we'll go ahead and we'll kick this off and get you out of here if you need to go, bro. So say goodbye to everybody.
All right. See you guys next time. Thank you very much.
And I don't know. It seems like we have some audio issues. Man, that's kind of weird because, guys, guess what? In the last 2 minutes, I've been increasing the volume on my end. So have you heard it? All right. So with that said, folks, we will try to get some more information out to you on the Tavern Talk. But yeah, this Thursday we're looking at the Wizard, so be prepared to walk and see the Wizard. So with that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this show up. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your support. Visit the VOT store. I threw some T-shirts and stuff and some mugs on sale, so they're a little reduced in price. So take a look. You don't have to be a guild member to buy it, so have fun. Enjoy. And until next time, we will catch you guys later. See ya.
Bye-bye.